so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats, typically in your direction, if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, you get rid of Booker, because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
11 times now without a major, 14 times at the Masters. He finally has the green jacket. Rory McIlroy.
The best sporting event so far this year. It's better than the Super Bowl. It was better than the NCAA tournament. It had ups and downs. It had roller coaster rides. It had history, legacies. It had everything you could ever possibly want.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on
And welcome in. It's in-game live, game day on the grid. Scott Joe Madden again filling in for Mr. Sherapan tonight as we take you right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time, watching, analyzing, Joe, betting on the world of sports. It's amazing how 24 hours changes things up. This same time yesterday, we came on the program, and I told you one of my bets, one of my goofy bets that FanDuel offers that I get suckered into all the time, was already a loser 30 seconds on the air. I forget which one it was. Something supposed to, the Knicks only scored 18 points, and I bet that every team would score at least 20 points in every quarter. So today, better news, as I put in a goofy bet that NHL, every game, would have a goal in the first 10 minutes. So far, 2 down, 2 to go. Nice little 6-1. Devils score in the first 10 minutes, and then Toronto has scored twice in the first 10 minutes of its game against Ottawa. So, lot to get to. Black Clouds, SGPs, same game parlays. We got round robin, which we hit last night. Cha-ching, cha-ching, and a couple of little surprises. So, what's going on, Joe? How are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. We're seeing the OKC City Thunder pulling away from Memphis right now. 28-17, Scott. So pretty impressed to see this team running away with it again. Did you lay the points with them? Because we know what happened in game one. They won by 51 points on the dot. Did you lay the 14.5?
I did, Joe. And I say this all the time. There are so many reasons you could find to not bet OKC. So many trends, back-to-back road games, laying double digits on the road. I mean, you name it, every reason in the world. And they just, all they do is win and cover. And the latest trend is you beat a team in the postseason by 25 or more points. You don't cover. Way more times than not. You not only don't cover, a lot of times you lose those games outright. So you mentioned they won by 50-plus in game one. You got to figure that they're going to have a little bit of a letdown. Memphis is obviously going to play a little bit better, and yet here they are out to another double-digit lead. It's amazing. This team is just phenomenal. I don't know what they have to do to have people buy in that they actually are championship caliber, but they're off to another great start. How about that?
Yeah. It's great to see. I like the 14.5 as well. That spread live right now is 21.5. I would still jump in on that because I think this is going to be another game where they completely run away with it. I wouldn't lay over 25 points. So we're seeing a fast start between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers. Better shooting night for both of these teams. Scott, this total is sky high now, 242.5. I went in on this to the over on that original number, but with how things are going, I'd look at this one to continue to trend in that higher scoring game. I'd take the over 242.5.
Yeah, I had the over in the first game, a little bit more than I had the over in this game, but I did play the over again. I really did like the over, and really it would have hit in the first game, but not for Milwaukee just not showing up. Damian Lillard playing tonight in a bit of a surprise. We'll get into that. So a lot to get to, including our 5 on the line. 5 best trends for games that have yet to get underway. Time to make some money with the boys in Vegas. All right, went to a rare losing night with the Trends. Only 2-3 last night, so we need to rebound and get a better night tonight. Still, 76-49, 27 games over 500. If you just bet every one of these Trends religiously from the start that we've been doing it for about a month now or so. So here are your 5 best. We'll start with a little hockey tonight, Joe. Florida's lost 6 straight road games. They're in Tampa tonight. They're finally getting underway in this series. Some series have had 2 games. They get to play 1. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay 11-3, their last 14 at home. So where are we going to go? Let's take Tampa Bay. I actually like Florida, but trends say Tampa Bay minus the 120 at home against the Florida Panthers, who again have lost 6 straight. Trend number 2, we'll keep it on the ice. Vegas has beaten Minnesota, the Teacups / Wild, 6 in a row, and Minnesota has lost 8 of its last 10 games as well. So where are we going to go with this one? Obviously, right? You got to take Vegas. It's a big number, minus 225 or so. You know, put it in a parlay. You want to lay a $1.50, go ahead, but our trend just says lay the minus 225. Pick number 3, we'll kind of keep it in the same city, different sport. How about NBA? Minnesota, the Teacups, 18-4, their last 22 games. They are playing great basketball. Lakers, only 10-10, their last 20. I know a lot of people live that zigzag system, and the Lakers would be the play, but man, 18-4 is 18-4. So you know where we're gonna go. Give me Minnesota plus the 5.5 against the Lakers. Maybe they'll win, but you get a halfway decent number there to at least cover the spread. Number 4 on our hit list, baseball. How about the Texas Rangers at Sacramento to take on the A's? Texas, 15-7 under this year. They are the number 1 under team in all of baseball, including 7 straight unders. You know the rule. Winners bet with streaks, losers bet against streaks. So where are we going? Let's go under 10, Texas, at the A's. And that leaves us, Joe, with only one. Our number 1 trend, the creme de la creme, coup de grace. It is going to be in baseball. The Minnesota Twinkies just underway. Don't like to give games that are underway, but it is underway. No score. Minnesota 15-2, you see there, against the Chicago White Sox, their last 17 meetings. So, what's the number 1 trend on the board today? You got it. Minnesota, again, a big number. You want to lay a 1.5, that's up to you. We just give out the winners. Minnesota minus 245 against the god-awful Chicago White Sox. Play them as they are 15-2 against the White Sox over the last 2+ seasons. So what's your favorite one, Joe?
It's got to be that Minnesota Twins pick. I already have them on that run line. I do think they come out and win it by a couple runs. You're looking at Davis Martin coming out here for the Chicago White Sox, and I don't trust him. He's only had 1 start. He's got a 12.60 ERA in that 1 start. He went 5 innings, and that was out on the road. I just think here the Twins are going to be able to light him up. So I love the trend is with this one. I also think the trend of the Tampa Bay Lightning is so strong out there. You look at a Florida Panthers team that down the stretch didn't have everyone out there on the ice, and I think the Lightning have a nice big win to start it off here at home. They've got so many playmakers out there, Scott, between Nikita Kucherov, Jake Gunsel, Braden Point. This should be a team that is healthier and readier to take on the Florida Panthers. But I'm still not sleeping completely on the Panthers tonight. I really do think the angle with Matthew Tkachuk is he's probably been good for the last week. I think they just gave him that extra rest, and we're going to see a Matthew Tkachuk on fire tonight. So Tampa has to bring it, and I think they'll be able to.
Yeah, should be a great series. We got some good numbers I'll pass along to you when we break that one down, which doesn't get underway for another 20 minutes or so. So plenty of time to get into that. Do want to give out our $1 round robin overtime extra inning parlay, Joe, that actually hit last night. And man, we were a minute away from getting 3 games going to overtime, which really would have made us some money. But we got 2, so we made some money. So you know the saying, if you start your sentence with you only won, then it's going to be a pretty good sentence. So the 5 games we're going to use today, all the hockey games. Ottawa, Toronto, just underway. I know it's 2-0, but we're going to use it anyway. You're going to get a monster number. Minnesota Lakers, 17-1. Florida, Tampa Bay. Minnesota, Vegas. And then 1 baseball game, Toronto at the Houston Astros, plus 770. We used that last night. We'll use it again. Why not? Hopefully this one's a little bit closer going to extra innings. If they all hit, your $10 investment will win $553. So on average, if you get 2, you're going to win $50 for your $1 bet. And that's why if you got 3 of them, you would have had 3 different winners. So pretty good payout just the same. Hopefully keep your fingers crossed. All right, a lot to get to. In-game live game day on the grid continues here in a sec.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid, just underway. Hour number one. We got Justin Perry from everywhere, really, with ShotQualityBets.com, a fantasy baseball writer at PitcherList.com, HoopsHQ.com. So we'll talk a little baseball, a little basketball with him in about 45 minutes or so. Then we got Cam Stewart next hour as well. So a busy show. SGP, Black Clouds as well. We hit our Black Cloud, cha-ching last night. Even if you had to do over 6.5 with Colorado and the Dallas, we put it at 5.5 minus the 160, but obviously 4-3 overtime game. So if you did do the 6.5, I'm glad you were a winner as well. So busy night, Joe. What's on your plate? I know we kind of scrambled through that first segment with so much going on, but what are you looking at tonight? Baskets and NHL and baseball that's going on right now.
Yeah, there's a ton on my plate, Scott, and I just want to say those games after we got off air yesterday were just electric out there on the ice. Yeah, between the Dallas Stars and Colorado going into overtime, and then the Edmonton Oilers making a push back against the LA Kings, and the Kings scoring with 42 seconds left in that game to win at 6-5. Just absolutely nuts, and I'm really hoping that these games tonight have just as much action. Now we have the Devils and the Carolina Hurricanes, a 2-1 game right now. Into the third, the Devils opened up the scoring in this one early in the first period. Carolina answered back in the second. I rode with the Devils team total over 1.5 goals, and I parlayed that with Dougie Hamilton for 2+ shots on goal. So I'm waiting for that to come in. If I was looking at a bet in this game right now, I would look at the Devils plus 1.5. They're playing a lot better tonight in this action versus the Carolina Hurricanes. That's coming in at minus 110. When I looked at the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs, this was a hard one here because Toronto and Ottawa in that first game spent so much time in the box. I looked at this one to go over the total because I just don't trust in the Ottawa Senators to really play a smart game out there. The over 6.5 right now is coming in at plus 122. I do think it's a solid way to go, and I would jump in on that over 6.5 because we're seeing Toronto here in the first period, 17 seconds left. This team is so strong at getting those goals out there on the board. And then looking at Florida and Tampa, while I do think Florida takes the series, Scott, I'm looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning in game 1. I think Tampa in game 1's a healthier team. And while I do believe in Matthew Tkachuk coming out nice and strong tonight, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Tampa to put that pressure on Bobrovsky. So I'm taking Tampa on the money line. I'm going to look, though, at Matthew Tkachuk 3 different ways for a full unit, a third of a unit on each. I'm going to take Matthew Tkachuk for a goal in the first period at plus 850, the anytime goal for the game at plus 240, and 2+ points for this game at plus 350. Scott, I think that he probably didn't need to be on IR as long as he was. What are your thoughts on Matthew Tkachuk? Because I really do think he's been all right.
Yeah, listen, who knows with these injuries in the NHL, right? But he was out a long time for an injury that didn't seem that serious. At least not where he should have been out a couple of months, that's for sure. Florida, whimpered home, that basically a 500 club, Joe, over the last month or so. So you got to hope if you're a Florida bettor for the Cup that, he was just playing possum, if you will, and the team was, and he's going to come out flying. Interesting about that series, figures to be a real close series, right? I looked it up. Only 2 of their last 10 meetings have been decided by 1 goal. Now, I didn't do the due diligence like I should have and seen how many had empty netters, which forced the 1-goal game to become a 2-goal game. But the bottom line, as far as betting purposes, is they've only had 2 in their last 10. So, you could have some fun. I like to do goofy things. And, if you lay a 1.5 goals with Florida, you're going to get plus odds. And if you lay a 1.5 goals with Tampa Bay, you're going to get plus odds. You could bet both. I know you're risking 2 to win none if it ends up being a 1-goal game. But again, 8 out of the last 10 have not been 1-goal games, as even as this series seems to be. And the road team has won 4 of the last 10. So 6-4 for the home team is not like an overwhelming home ice advantage. Like, again, you would think maybe it would be.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts out there between those two teams. I don't mind that strategy at all, Scott. And I do think this will be a great live betting situation as well, looking at the team that is down to start this game straight up on the money line, because we know the books are going to overreact with the line pricing going into this one. I did look at Braden Point, though, of the Tampa Bay Lightning for his power play point tonight. That's coming in at plus 210. He's been just a stud in the playoffs. 87 playoff games, 87 points, and we know how impactful he is on that power play. For the Tampa Bay Lightning this season, that power play converting at 25.9%. This team is so strong when they get moving out there on the ice. And I also think you look at Jake Guentzel instead of Nikita Kucherov, because we know Nikita Kucherov, 121 points on the season. We're going to see Florida defensively all over him. Well, that leaves Jake Guentzel open. So Jake Guentzel for the goal tonight coming in at plus 190. And then if you want anyone else for Florida other than Matthew Tkachuk, I'd look at one of the Sams, Scott. You're getting the best value with Sam Bennett for the point at plus 130. Sam Reinhart's juicy at minus 148, but Reinhart rolling into the playoffs with 81 points in the regular season. Sam Bennett with 51. I tell you, both of these guys could have big nights here.
Who do you think wins that series, Joe? I'm rooting for Florida. I think Florida does win, but, it wouldn't be a shock to be a Tampa Bay one. Who do you like?
I think Florida takes it in 6 or 7. I think this comes right down to the wire. I'll be shocked if they have to go all the way to 7. I think when we look at the Florida Panthers, they step up to such a different level in the playoffs. And I think this one here for Tampa, while I love their playmakers, I'm going to lean on Bobrovsky to be the difference maker in this match.
All right. As far as the game's going on, I agree with you. I like the over 5.5 with Toronto and Ottawa. You got 2 goals. You just got to have Ottawa come to play a little bit, which, you know they will. You would think they would anyway, being down 1 game to none. So I agree with you on that. And I wouldn't put it in right now, but I really do like Carolina. I think there's a real good chance they could sweep this series against the Devils. They're leading 2-1. There's about 10 minutes left to go in the third. You can lay a puck and a half, but it's still minus odds, minus 132. I'll wait until it gets to about 5 minutes because I'm really counting on an empty netter. I'm not really counting on Carolina scoring another goal. But, maybe Devils pinch the defenseman would start 4 or 5 minutes left. And then you get some opportunities. And then you lay a goal and a half, and it'll probably be, probably plus 120, 130, 140. That's my goal. So SGP, same game parlays, coming up next here on the Grid.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve to be first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC. That is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Scott Joe Madden filling in for Dave Sherapan tonight. Hour number 1, 24 past the hour. You know what time it is. Little SGP same game parlay time. All right, I'll go first here, Joe. I got a 5-legger. I'm going to use the Vegas Golden Knights and Minnesota Wild game later on this evening. Late start, 11 o'clock Eastern time. Always nice for those that like to stay up like I do. So we're going to go with Vegas. Why not? They beat Minnesota, as you heard in the trends there, 6 straight. They're playing great. Minnesota only 2-8 their last 10. They do have Kaprizov back, and he did get a couple of assists, which I'll allude to here in a second. But still, Vegas is the better team. Won't lay the puck in half, but give me them minus the 225. I do think Minnesota comes out flying, being down 1-0. So with that, I'm going to go with both teams to score in the first period at plus 184, which is pretty darn good. That same kind of thinking, I think there'll be a goal in the first 10 minutes, minus 146. Going to use Jack Eichel for Vegas to get an assist. He had 66 on the season. Not quite an assist a game, but pretty close to it, close enough. And is actually in an assist drought. He's had 7-8 games without getting an assist, so he is clearly overdue. So give me Eichel to get an assist. I'll kick myself if he scores a goal and doesn't get an assist, but that said, then I'll go Kaprizov to get an assist as well. Why not? He's back from his injury, missed about a month or so, and he had 2 in the first game. No doubt he'll get more attention tonight, but he's so good it doesn't matter. So give me him an assist. Add it all up, and it pays almost 10-1, plus 992 when I put it in earlier today. What do you got?
Nice plus money on that one, Scott. I'm going to turn to the ice as well. I'm going to look at the matchup here between the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I've got a 4-legger. It's coming in 4-1 to your money, with the first leg being that first period. And I tell you, if this one shoots me in the foot here, I'm going to be so confused with how this one starts off. I really do think first period goes over 1.5 goals. I took the over 1.5 instead of both teams to score, just in case one of these teams was the one to light the lamp twice. So we nicely got the over 1.5. The over 1.5 coming in at minus 118. But I do expect that fast start out of both of these teams as the offenses want to get up quick in this game. I'm going to look at Braden Point for the anytime point tonight. It's juicy outside of the parlay, but inside the parlay, it does boost the odds. It's coming in at minus 180. Braden Point has averaged a point per game in his career in the playoffs. And then Jake Gunsel here, because I think Nikita Kucherov is going to be smothered by the defense out there of the Florida Panthers. I do think Jake Gunsel is a great option to look at for his point tonight. And then Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers, taking him for just a point tonight, minus 172. So the 4 legs coming in at the over 1.5 in the first period. Braden Point of the Tampa Bay Lightning for a point. Jake Gunsel of the Tampa Bay Lightning for a point, and Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers for a point, plus 410, Scott.
All right, that's not too bad. I like that. So should get some goals, should get some points. And it's really actually been a halfway decent over series also when these teams get together. So not bad. I like that, Joe. Our poll question of the night, just sent that out a little while ago. We got all these great games, and there's different ways to skin a cat. But again, who's skinning cats? I don't know where that expression started, but we'll throw it out there just the same. We've never gotten quite an answer to that, but I know people say that. Poll question of the night. Get to the point. We sent it out a little while ago. Let me just get the update here. What is your favorite Joe prop bet? I put MLB pitcher strikeouts, which I love. NHL player shots on goal that I used to really love until the boys in Vegas got sharper with their numbers. NBA player points, rebounds, assists, which I know is big with the kiddies. Then the proverbial other, you name it. So check Joe's Twitter feed. I sent it out to her, SportsGrid TV, as well as mine. Get your vote in early on, because I just sent it out. We have basically a tie between NBA and other, name it. So we'll update that a couple of times before we are through. So Anyway, back to the board. Got a couple baseball bets here we can take a peek at before we get back to the NHL stuff and NBA stuff. The Braves just scored. All right, it's still 2-1 St. Louis. It was 2-0 a moment ago, but getting the Braves, Joe, plus money, you still have it at plus 112, and then you get the Dodgers down 5-4, plus 134 against the Cubbies in the second inning.
You got to look at the Dodgers for sure. Dustin May getting the start here. I'm actually shocked that we've already got 5 runs out of the Chicago Cubs. We're the bottom of the second, Scott, and we've got a 5-4 game. Are you kidding me? I hope you guys took the over. That live number, 16.5.
Yeah, we'll look at more numbers when we come back in Game Live.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and you know, launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve to be first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC, that is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Joe checking out all the action. We'll head back to the NBA, Joe. We got a couple of games on the board tonight. First one underway as the Pacers and Milwaukee Bucks are squaring off Game 2 of that series. We actually got 3 games on the board tonight, 2 underway. Game 2, Milwaukee really laid an egg in Game 1. D. Lillard, surprisingly enough, is playing tonight. It's kind of weird, you know. I'm a little surprised because if you had a blood clot, you know, it's not that you're feeling hurt. I was telling these guys on the podcast because I've had a blood clot before. It doesn't hurt. It's just that they give you blood thinners, so your blood is really thin to prevent any more clotting for the, you know, generally for me, I think it was like 6 months. I think that's the norm. So you don't want strenuous activity because, you know, in case you fall, you get a cut, it's a lot harder to stop the bleeding. That's all really the concern is. So I'm surprised he got that quick okay from the doctors, but then there's another part of me that says, you know, that it's not football. You know, you're not falling to the ground, scraping your elbows and whatever. So I don't know how much danger there really is. But bottom line is he's playing tonight. We talked a little bit about it before, right? Love the over. That's looking real good. Third quarter, Milwaukee, though, still laying an egg. 78-62 now. Pacers lead by 16, laying 11.5, and the over-under is 240.5. I might be willing to dive in. I did like Indiana to start the game. It was down to 4. But getting 11.5 with Milwaukee, albeit down 16, Joe, I might be willing to buy in on that.
Okay, so what do you like better, Scott? Because I'm with you. I took the Pacers in this game to start, so I laid the 4, and then I took the Pacers and the Bucks for that total over 228.5. If you were going to reinvest on either one of those, would you lay the 11.5 with the Pacers, or would you go over the 240.5, or would you just stay off it? Because at this point, I'm really happy in my position, but for people wanting to jump in, I'm not sure if you want to grab the Bucks plus the points. I have more confidence in the Pacers, but are we getting to that price market? It's just too many points to lay.
That's what I'm thinking, although now it's up to 12.5. So I do still like the over. Same thing. I love the over to begin with at 228. That's looking solid. You need 100 more points. And you have, basically the entire second half, and you have a Bucks team that's trailing. Not that I don't think either one of these teams would slow it down, but at least they're scoring, unlike in Game 1 where they couldn't score. So I guess if I had to choose one, I would go one more time with the over, 240. But if I was looking to hedge, I probably would say, strategically get a middle. I'd probably say give me the Bucks plus the 12.5 because I think they're going to make a run. And maybe that line drops to 6.5, 7.5, somewhere along the line. Whereas I don't know how much higher it's going to go over 240.5. It's a lot of points. So if you want to win bet, one bet over. If you want, kind of middle action, I think I would take the Bucks now plus the 12.5.
And what point would you start to middle the Memphis Grizzlies and OKC? Because both of us coming in here at laying the 14 with OKC, you wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's going to say. That's spread 22.5 now, Scott. And we've seen a couple runs here for the Grizzlies, but I haven't seen them bring it within a spread of 11.5. Have you seen it go any lower than that? Because I haven't.
No, I saw it at 25.5 before too. It's at 22.5 now. They're at the half. OKC leads by 18, 70-52. Joe, I think I told you this stat before, and I know I mentioned it here on the air, but it's worth mentioning again. 69 wins now for OKC, counting the one playoff win. 69. All but 13 of those have come by double digits. I mean, it's just amazing. 56 wins by double digits. So because of that, there might be a momentary pause, and then Memphis makes a little bit of a run, but I've stopped betting against OKC. I didn't bet a lot on them tonight because it did have the rebound system with Memphis, but I still bet them, and here they are. They're up 18, and if you laid the 14.5, you'd have a whopping 8-point middle already. If you did that, maybe I'd buy the 22.5, but otherwise, just starting right now, this team's going to win by 25 again. It's amazing. It's really remarkable, this club.
Yeah, I wish I went into this one putting the ladder, right? Like laying the 14.5, but having the guts to 16, 18, 20.5. Because if you would have done that, you would have been looking at some great plus money. And I think I'll look at that for Game 3. Or do you think once this goes back to Milwaukee, the Bucks could steal one, Scott? Because I don't know if they can.
The Bucks or the Grizzlies?
Sorry, the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies.
Yeah.
I put them in one of my goofy parlays where I bet over games and series, and I kind of regret I did. But I put over 4.5 Memphis and OKC, thinking, they'll steal one. I kind of counted on John Morant having one monster 40-plus point game, and he wills them to a win, and then they lose the other 4, right? So I think maybe, hopefully, they get one, but they're going to be underdogs again. They'll be a good 5, 6, 7 point underdog. If it doesn't happen in Game 3, then it's not happening. So it's going to be one shot or nothing. I'm just looking to see how many points SGP has, or Gilchrist Alligator, SGA. SGP. SGA. Yeah, whatever. Right? I pick a name, right? He's only got 12. How about that? They got 70 points. They're up 18. That's the thing about this club. They got so many guys that could score. It's amazing. Morant's got 12.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a way to kind of bet OKC without laying 20. Carolina scored. Hopefully you guys put that in because that was plus money with Carolina laying a goal and a half. And it was right around the time I told you that I would be putting it in. Right around 5 minutes, right? Actually, an empty netter. Ah, fudge. I didn't pay attention.
37
I should shut up
seconds
and
left.
start paying more attention. Yeah, they got the empty net. No doubt they were getting money. No doubt they were getting plus money, laying a goal and a half. So hopefully you guys did it. 3-1. Did New Jersey win a game, Joe? I don't think they do. I hope they do because I got every game to go. No team to sweep, but I don't think they do.
It's a hard one here. You saw them come out nice and strong in that first period, really play strong defensively, getting that goal on the board, but it all fell apart in the second period. Carolina's just so much stronger than them, and there's so many injuries here for the New Jersey Devils that, Scott, I don't know. I don't know once they return home. The only thing that you have to hope for is those inconsistencies of the regular season come to haunt Carolina when they go to New Jersey, because if they do, then the Devils do have the opportunity of getting the win. But if Carolina brings their A game out there on the road, then this one probably does finish in the sweep.
Yeah. All right, 3-1 final. Carolina does win. They take a 2-0 lead. We've only had one road team win a postseason game now in 10. Colorado at the Dallas, game number 1. Otherwise, the home team is now 9-1. And you got Toronto winning 2-0. Long ways from being over, but interesting that, we always say hockey is so balanced that it doesn't matter with home ice and this, that, what have you. And, number 8 seed can beat a number 1 seed in the President's Cup and all this mumbo jumbo. And yet here we are. It's been a favorite / home team dominated postseason so far.
It really has been. It really has been. Hopefully it changes, Scott, as we see these teams in their second game. And I can't believe Florida and Tampa, this is only game 1 tonight, Scott. Everyone else, second game here for the Sens, second game here for Carolina. But Florida and Tampa, first game of the night, first game of the series.
Yeah. Kind of interesting. Toronto still 2-0. Second period is underway. And then that Florida game is going to drop the first puck here in a couple of moments. I got a feeling they were just waiting for the Carolina Devil game to start. So that'll start in a few moments. Tampa Bay -118 on FanDuel. Florida -102. Over under 5.5. All right, quick little break. We'll check the baseball board, the NBA board, and everything else going on. In-game live, game day on the grid.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC, that is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott Joe Bannon until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Checking out NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. So we got our first final in. Carolina does beat the Devils 3-1 as they take a 2-0 best-of-7 series lead. The series heads to New Jersey for later in the week for game number 3. But this is what I was talking about, Joe, as far as it's kind of weird. The NBA has a certain image, NHL has a certain image, and in reality, it's kind of going, opposite, hence opposite picks. NHL, home playoff teams, now 9-1 after their win tonight with Carolina. The over-unders, pretty even, 5-5, and I think most people figured that playoff hockey, you're only going to get, 3, 4 goals, 5 goals, and these games are all going to go under. That's not been the case. The favorite and under combination has hit 5 times, favorite and over 4 times now that you have the Carolina game there to make it 5-4. So, it's really been a lopsided NHL postseason. Favorites / home teams, dominate. If you bet on the home team every single game, just a blanket, you know what? I'm an idiot. Just give me the home team, Louis the Lip. You'd be up $800 right now. I mean, you'd be a rich man not even knowing anything about anything. See, do we do that from here on out? You just say, you know what the fudge? Give me the home team, Louis. I don't care who's playing, when they're playing, why they're playing, what the line is. Just give me the home team in hockey.
Well, I hope it works out that way with the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight, but I'm a little concerned with the Vegas Golden Knights with how Minnesota did really play in that last game. So, Scott, it's a great point. I can't believe how strong the home teams have been thus far, but I don't know if it continues. And looking at those trends with the over and under, I know a lot of people love to look at that defensive style of hockey in the playoffs, but when you really look at it, when do the playoffs really lock down defensively? It's when we get into the second round more so than the first, and it's when we get deeper into these series as well. So looking at these first couple of games, especially with teams like Colorado that just have that speed in transition, you got to look at those teams to come out and play strong over games, but teams that played that whole regular season to the unders, which is why a lot of people had the Kings last night to win it in a lower scoring. It didn't work out. The Kings still won it, but I still can't believe 6-5. If I would have told you that score, Scott, would you have thought it was the Kings getting the win, or would you have thought it was the Oilers? Because I would have thought it was the Oilers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Edmonton for sure, right? And like I said, there are 4 games this season between those teams, and 3 of them had shutouts. So to get 11 goals, it ruined my grand salami, which looked golden. But, that flurry, those late 3 goals, turning a 5-3 manageable game into a 6-5, yeah, crazy. Just absolutely crazy. So, yeah, you're getting a ton of goals in these games, which is good. It's more entertaining. I'd rather watch a 4-3 game than I would a 2-1 game. So, NBA, on the other hand, is really just the opposite. The home team only 6-4 straight up and against the spread. I mean, that's really not that big of a difference, right? Favorites are winning 8-2. I will say that 7-3 against the spread. But the surprise to me is the over/unders. 3 overs and 7 unders. I mean, defense is actually kicking in the NBA, and the favorite and under combination has hit 5 times, as you see there. So, and that's, I think if you ask the boys in Vegas, which is the least combination bet when you put a parlay in, it would be favored in the under. Right? Generally, it's favored in over or underdog in under. And, the underdog and unders only hit 2 times, and the favorite and overs only hit 2 times. So, once again, the boys in Vegas come out on top. Interesting how the NBA's defense is being picked up, and, the scoring is going down.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's good to see that defense really coming to play. I like the defensive style of basketball out there on the court. Scott, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'd rather have that than I would a 135 to 130 game. That's for sure. Although I do like the over in Minnesota Lakers, which we can get into in a little while. I just think we're going to get some points in that game. So we're getting points in the Milwaukee game. That's on pace to go over. So maybe it would be an overnight in the NBA, 87-75. And then halftime, OKC, 70 to 52. That over/under was right around 229 or so, and it's 239 and a half now. So it's a little bit higher. So we're on pace for 2 overs tonight in the NBA.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're seeing those overs come in those games, Scott. We still have the Pacers up on the Milwaukee Bucks. That spread is now 11.5 as the Pacers leading at 87-75. And OKC, there's that spread again of 24.5. They're up 70-52. Do the Memphis Grizzlies even hit 90 in this game, Scott? Because I don't think they do.
I hope they do, because I got the over in the game. And unless OKC puts 150 on the board, then I need a little something from them. They got 52. So as long as they get 100, and I think they'll get 90. They got 52. So as long as they get 100, I think the over, the 229.5, the original number is doing okay. So, but somewhere along the line, but I wouldn't bet on them. And Joe, that line, just for sakes, that line went up to 24.5. Like, how many times does a halftime line go from 22.5, nothing happening, obviously, right? And it goes up to 24.5. I mean, it's just no one believes and no one's betting Memphis, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't either, unless there's some injury we don't know about. They said someone's not going to be playing second half. But that's a pretty good jump from 22.5. You can get from 6.5 to 8.5, something like that. But from 22.5 to 24.5, check into that, guys. Just look on Twitter, see if someone got hurt maybe first half, and they confirmed they're not going to play, because that seems weird.
Well, Scott, I feel like we were sitting here on Sunday right before we went on air, and I had stopped in the in-game live before us, and we were seeing at halftime a spread very similar to this. And then what did we see in that second half? OKC continued to pull away in that game. So I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to look at Sunday's game and see where this score was at halftime, because it seems so similar out there with that spread, at least.
Yeah, really does. Nothing has changed except for a few more points out of Memphis. But other than that, really nothing. They're overmatched. No two ways about it in this series. They're just, so. All right, we'll take a break, come back. Our play of the day, the Black Cloud play of the day. A winner yesterday. Let's keep it rolling today here on the Grid.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
king of the featherweight division for the BKFC. That is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott Joe Madden sitting in for Dave Sherapan until 10 p.m. Eastern Time as we watch, analyze, and bet the world of sports. Final segment, hour number 1. You know what time it is. Time for our best play of the day. A winner last night, and let's hope a winner tonight. Black Cloud time. Yes, hit with the over 5.5, laying some juice, Colorado versus Dallas, and even if you had it at 6.5 or 6, as we spread it around, it was all different numbers depending on where you did your shopping. You won 4-3, obviously, in overtime, so cha-ching on that one. Now 25-11 with our Black Cloud play. Not bad at all over the last month and a half or so. So, where are we going to go today? We got playoff hockey? Nope. We got playoff basketball? Nope. Let's go to baseball tonight. Let's go to Arizona, where the Diamondbacks are hosting the god-awful Tampa Bay Devil Dogs. We're going to use Arizona. Little juice you see there, minus 180. But, you know, this time of the year, you got to have a strong stomach because that's what these baseball games basically are when you bet the favorites. And we like betting the favorites with these Black Clouds. So, 13-9 Arizona, hosting in reverse 9-13 Tampa Bay. Fod on the hill for the Diamondbacks. He's been great. He's won his last 3 starts. He's allowed 1 run, in fact, in his last 2. Meanwhile, you got Zach Littell, who's been awful for the Devil Dogs on the hill for Tampa Bay. 0-4 with an ERA of 5.5. Tampa Bay 1-6, their last 1-5 rather, their last 6 games. Including 3 shutouts, for goodness sakes. They're 0-3 on the road. They've only played 4 road games. They're yet to get a road win. And Arizona is 6-2 their last 8. So that's a lot of things point to Arizona. I'm going to lay the wood. Love the Diamondbacks tonight. Minus 180, Joe, against Tampa Bay.
It's a really solid way to go with your Black Cloud. I already looked at the Arizona Diamondbacks in the first 5 innings as well. You can get them in the first 5 straight up in the money line at minus 122. For all the reasons you said, Scott, this team should come out nice and fast to start this game, really limit the Tampa Bay Lightning in it, and get the win at the end of the day. So great play. I think you're on to another winner.
All right, keep your fingers crossed. They get underway here in a little bit. Oh, we got a goal out of Florida. How about that? Wow. You know, one of our goofy bets might actually hit. I told you at the top of the show, Joe, you know, FanDuel, God bless them, offers all these goofy bets for sick bastards like myself, right? So I put them all in. So basically all, not all of them, but, you know, a lot of them. So one of them was, will every game have a goal in the first 10 minutes? And it would pay 6-1. Now, there's 4 games, and generally that's like a minus 120, minus 130 or so bet. It probably, in all honesty, probably would have paid more if I just would have parlayed all 4, to tell you the truth, but whatever. Pay for convenience. So we got 3 games down. And now all we have to do is get Minnesota and Vegas to have a goal. Now I could hedge if I wanted to. So I'll check those numbers in a second. But so far, 3 down, 1 to go. So our poll question. Let's keep your fingers crossed, right? Let me do the poll question here. Yesterday's poll question was whichever team was your best bet. We put 4 things up there. And pretty much a dead even bet as the Clippers and Denver both got 27.8% of the vote. Kings got 23.6%, and then Colorado got 20.8%. So pretty even there. Tonight, we put up the poll question, and that was, what is your favorite prop bet? Speaking of prop bets, right? You see there, MLB pitcher strikeouts getting 20%. We got player NHL shots on goal getting 26%. NBA player points, rebounds, assists getting 29%. That is your leader. And then other, name it, getting 24% of the vote. So one guy tweeted in home runs. That's a big one. Ghostface at FlyFacetone. Okay, thank you, Ghostface. So check out your Twitter feed, mine and Joe's at Opposite Picks, at Joe Ben, so at Joe Ben Sports, actually, and get your vote in. We'll update that a couple of times before we are through. So not bad, Joe. Any baseball stuff that you like before we get to our break?
Well, I just wanted to update everyone on the Florida Panthers. It was Sam Bennett who was able to get that goal tonight. So hopefully you just grabbed him for the goal or the point tonight. His point was a plus 104. So Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart, definitely two players you want to look at for the Florida Panthers over this series.
All right, there you go. All right, quick little break. And Justin Perry, ShotQualityBets.com, joins us next.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and you know, launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve to be first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC, that is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day on the Grid. Hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Scott and Joe Madden until 10 p.m. Eastern time. We got hockey, we got NBA, obviously we got baseball. What better guy to talk a little hoops, a little baseball with our good buddy Justin Perry. Check out all his work at ShotQualityBets.com, fantasy baseball writer as well at PitcherList.com, and of course, HoopsHQ.com. What's going on, Justin? How are you tonight, bud?
Oh, I am good, Scott. Thank you for having me on the show again. It's always a pleasure to come chop it up a little bit. Diamond, court, doesn't really matter. It's a great time of year. Plenty of action wherever you look. Plenty of things to bet on. I got friends talking to me about soccer at 10 a.m. in the morning. It's a great time for sports.
Yeah, it definitely is. We've got a couple of great games going on the hardwood right now. I wanted to ask you about OKC and your thoughts on them here versus the Memphis Grizzlies. We know what happened in Game 1. Are you expecting them to continue to pull away here in Game 2?
I mean, Joe, first of all, thank you. It's a tough one to figure out. I actually was just doing some live betting before I jumped on the show. That's kind of what we do over at Shot Quality Bets, is use our data to figure out what the games are supposed to be looking like. And we grabbed a little bit of the Memphis Grizzlies plus that 24.5 number that popped up for just a second. So it's a little bit closer now, but I do think this game is a little bit more accurate to where we expect it to be. Currently expecting a 14-point lead for the Thunder as they lead by 12. So nothing's too crazy for me at the moment. Jaren Jackson doing a lot of work for Memphis. Might look to see him maybe cool off in the fourth quarter as the Thunder try to eliminate what's working for Memphis right now as they keep this game, well within the margin that they lost game one by. It doesn't look like that's within the realm of possibility. It would take a massive deficit in the fourth quarter. Game two looks a little bit more up in the air, a little bit more just like a secure the win rather than blow them out and make them look like, they're not even within the same league as they did on, Saturday night? Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. Jesse, a separate issue. Do you think they're going to win a game? I put them in a parlay where you bet how many games in a series. And I just figured, maybe they'll win 1 over 4.5. But, I'm really kind of having my doubts now.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned too. I think, looking at how Oklahoma City looks right now, I think their goal is really just how many games can we try to keep off of our plate? Can they win this in 8? Can they get through the first 2 rounds in 8 games, 9 games? I think they can. So I think they'll look to try to get it done. I expect, game 3, game 4, those are going to be tough to win. They're going to be close. I wouldn't be shocked to see them, go with the gentleman's sweep. You also get to win the round at home. And, of course, the implication of getting that third game. You want that third game. You want to sell those tickets. So, it's not really too spoken about, but I always think there might be incentive to get 3 out of the 4 possible games without too much risk. Oh, no, look what happened. We had to sell more tickets. So, yes, I think there's a decent chance, but I'm not sold. I'm not totally in on it. I think they could just potentially go for it to conserve resources, no injuries, no risk. Oklahoma City's smart, and I think they want this ring more than anything else. So, they might do it in 8 to get to the Western Conference Final.
Okay, then what do you think about the Pacers here? Do you think this one kind of plays out the same kind of way where the Pacers can take it in 5 over the Bucks?
Yeah, I think that's looking pretty similar right now. I expect Milwaukee to bounce back pretty well in game 3, but game 4 should be a well-contested battle. It could obviously go the other way, but there's going to be a spot there, and I do expect it to be the next game because the data has looked pretty good for Milwaukee. Pacers are red hot tonight. Nembhard, Naismith, none can miss. Turner, Halliburton, all performing very well. Really only getting that type of performance from Portis, Kuzma on the Milwaukee side. Not really the type of game you want from Damian Lillard in his return. But again, the series doesn't really start till a road win is the euphemism. And I think this is a good first playoff game back for Damian Lillard. And I expect him to be a lot more impactful in game 3. So I look for the Bucks to answer in game 3. And then I think game 4 will really be the decider here. If Milwaukee can hold serve and make it a 3-game series, anything can happen. But Indiana looks to get back into Indy with a 3-1 lead for Game 5 is what I'm expecting this series to look like.
All right, what are we doing with Minnesota trying to go up 2-0 with 2 rare road wins against the Lakers?
I mean, yeah, that's what a series already here, guys. This gets started early. Anthony Edwards obviously looking like everything you want him to look like in the playoffs. Luka Doncic can score 37, but if no one else is doing anything, it's not really going to matter, and they're going to need more. That's kind of what we saw. They've talked about, Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid for a long time, and I think Minnesota, interestingly, doesn't really have them in the spotlight too much in the regular season, and all of a sudden these big games roll around. They're the shot makers. They're the guys that step up. And it doesn't really look. And there's probably going to be a Julius Randle game. There's probably going to be a Gobert game. But I mean, those wings, they're the difference makers alongside Anthony Edwards. And this team is very deep. They have DiVincenzo. They have Conley. both able to run in the guard positions pretty well. Conley's shifty enough to still be earning minutes at his age. That's an exciting team. This is obviously very much shifted towards Minnesota. They're looking to get some revenge on Luka Doncic, that's for sure.
Okay, if they're looking for revenge, which players are you looking at to be able to get it tonight?
Yeah, I like Alexander Walker over the 7.5. I thought he should have been doing a little bit better. Our numbers pointing towards maybe 9.5, 9 points tonight. And then Naz Reid under the 12.5 is what I played. I think should be a little bit closer to 11.5. Again, you're not playing with much on points props, but I'll take a full point in my projections against the market. I didn't have anything in the Memphis game. Took a couple props there in the first game of the night, but finishing off with 2 props there from Minnesota, expecting those points to go to NAW away from Naz Reid.
All right. My Black Cloud play of the day in baseball, Arizona against the Tampa Bay Devil Dogs. Give me your impressions for that game.
Ooh, I mean, I expect an over. Give me anything out in that desert. I like going over. I think both these teams can hit. The pitching a little bit questionable. You get flatter pitches. You're going to see some of those Tampa Bay guys get it out of the park. I really like Junior Caminero. Been a big fan for a long time. Own him in all my fantasy leagues. So excited about him going out for that series out there in the thin air. So I do like the over. I think even if the pitchers are starting off hot, you could take overs late, live bet them, and expect some of those relievers to struggle a little bit. This should be a fun series, especially if you're staying up late looking for something to watch as a nightcap. Should be a good time. A lot of fun players. I like the rework. They got Naylor out in Arizona now. I've always been a Snakes fan. I don't know why. I think just since Randy Johnson days, they got those great retro jerseys. But I like the franchise. I always kind of root for them. Ketel Marte is a fun player now, even though he's on the mend. So, but still, they got Pavin Smith clicking now too. So I'll take the over. I like both those lineups. A good deal. Some speed, some fun. That should be some good baseball tonight.
All right, cool. All right, well, I'll take a nice 6-5 Arizona win. I got no problem with that.
There you go.
Justin Perry, check out all his work. ShotQualityBets.com, fantasy baseball writer as well for @PitcherList.com, and then, of course, HoopsHQ.com as well. Justin, great job, man, as always. And as always, a pleasure. Appreciate a couple of minutes tonight, and we'll do it again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. See you soon.
All right. We got it, man. All right, in-game live, game day on the grid. We got baseball, we got basketball, we got some hockey stuff to get to, and we will when we come back. In-game live, Scott and Joe here on the grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Joe for another 45 minutes or so. We got Cam Stewart coming up in a half hour. Again, thanks to Justin Purr for joining us. ShotQualityBets.com, his main home. Check out all his work over there. So, a couple of updates here, Joe. First up, hockey. Another goal. Again, I know a lot of people figured this was going to be like a 2-1 game, but, you know, they have had a number of overs in Florida, Tampa Bay. Panthers score first. Tampa Bay answers. So we got 1-1, 5.5 minutes left to go in the third. I don't know if I would lay the 6.5, only because it's minus 140. I think if they get the 1-1, it might go back down to 5.5. But I do see 6 goals at least in this game, especially because these teams haven't played in a week and a half, basically. It's not that long, but you know what I mean. It is Tuesday. You know, the regular season ended last week. For whatever reason, they decided to make these guys wait until tonight to play their first game. So they've been resting a long time, and I really figured they would come out flying, and that's been the case. Numbers back to where it was to start, minus 128. And then we got, over 6.5. So any thoughts, Tampa Bay and Florida?
I am super happy right now, Scott, because 2 legs of my 4-leg parlay are already checked off. The over 1.5 in the first period's checked off. And Jake Gunsel did get the goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So 1+ points for Jake Gunsel ticked off. Now we just need Braden Point for a point. And I'm pretty sure he didn't get the assist on that power play goal. But Braden Point and then Matthew Tkachuk for a point, and we'll have all 4 legs back. It's a good start to this 4-leg parlay, Scott.
All right, that's not bad. Not bad at all. I told you we'd get some, we would get some goals in this game. So, NBA, if I told you one of the 2 teams would make a run, I don't know which one you would have picked, but I probably would have picked Milwaukee. But actually, it's Memphis that has cut into the deficit here. How about that? The Grizzlies, once trailing by 20-some, I think it was. Might not have, well, I know the point spread was up to 25.5, so it was pretty close to 20, if not over 20, right? And right now they are down 11, 90-79, while the Bucks are getting whacked. They made a little run. They're down 13, but it's actually Memphis that's playing a little bit better.
I'm shocked by that. I really am, Scott, because I just was kind of writing them off for the rest of the night. So spread of 15.5. Justin was saying he got in at that 24.5 and kind of wish I would have got in at that spot. So disappointing to see that. But I don't know. There's lots of time. There's a whole quarter left in this game.
Yeah. I got a feeling, you know what? That 15.5, I got a feeling they're going to, turn it on. They didn't score that many points. Well, they had 72 at the half. They only scored 18 points in the third quarter. How about that? So that that bet lost then. Every team scoring at least 20 points in every quarter. One of these days that's going to hit, but 18. I didn't think OKC would be the team that would kill me, but it did tonight. So the over-under is down to 226.5. You got 169 points, so you need about 55, 56, almost 60 points. I got a feeling you get that. Although, actually, you know what I like even better? I think OKC's going to come out flying. What's OKC's team total? I don't see it there. How about featured? Because that's where I think they're going to put like 30, 35 points on the board. I wouldn't worry about having to have Memphis score. I don't see it here. It's got to be here somewhere. But I would go 226.5 home team. There you go. Oh, no, 120.5. Not 226.5. No. Yeah. Just only tell me stuff you absolutely know. Talking to my producer. So 120.5. So 31 points. I think they get 31 points. After scoring only 18, I bet they get, pardon the pun, I bet they get 31 points. So I'm going to go over 120.5 Memphis OKC.
Okay, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you in that one. If I was going to take anything right now out there on the hardwood, it's got to be the Pacers for me laying the 12.5. Scott, even though I had them originally in this game only laying the 4.5, I really do have a feeling they're going to pull away, continue to pull away nicely from the Bucks. They're leading the Indiana Pacers 108-95. So I like what they've been able to do out there on the court. I wish there was a situation where we could have taken the Grizzlies plus the 24.5. I wish I would have got on it. It's going to pick at me all night, Scott. So I really hope OKC comes out and just dominates this fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think they will. When everything is said, and now listen, you would have had a chance to middle it. So you know, whatever happens from here on out, certainly they could win by 30, but you did have a chance to middle it, like you said, if we grabbed it. But I just didn't trust them, and I still don't. So. Need the Mets. Right back. It's amazing how the Mets are just carbon copies from last night. Over 3.5 Mets team total. We're playing on the podcast. Like last night, they scored a run in the first inning. Like last night, they scored a run in the second inning. And like last night, no more runs so far. Although it's only bottom 6. But, I needed the 7th inning. Lindor last night with a 3-run homer. I'm hoping, you get 2 runs in the first 2 innings. You don't generally have to worry about covering 3.5. But I still like them, and they're winning again. Braves tied up the Cardinals. If you took them earlier when we suggested, Joe, plus money when they were down 2-1, now tied 4-4. They're playing better.
That was Yeah, they really are. So the lines are all locked up right now, Scott. It's going to be interesting to see what this total comes out with, because we are the bottom of the 6 here. So I'm interested in that once it comes out. I do think both of these teams will continue to trade back those runs. And the Cubs and the Dodgers, we know that one started off feisty to start. We have a 7-4 game right now with the Cubs up, and a total has dropped from 16.5 that it was when we first had all these runs come on the board to a 14.5. At 14.5, I still like it to the over, as we are going to the top of the 6.
Yeah. Rockies and White Sox, 2 of the biggest, disappointments in baseball, both kind of hanging tough so far tonight. Minnesota 2-1 over the White Sox. They played top of the 7th inning. I think most people, if you played Minnesota, you probably took them laying a run and a half. And then you got Kansas City leading Colorado 1-0. Same thing. Kansas City laying 2.5, or between 2.5. So if you played that, you probably laid a run and a half. That's top of the 8th. So they only got 1 more at bat. All right, more coming up in Game Live.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shador Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC, that is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day on the Grid. Scott and Joe until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We got Cam Stewart coming up in about 20 minutes. We'll go over some hockey, some NBA, no doubt a little baseball, I'm sure, with him. In the meantime, our Twitter update for our poll question of the night. We put out there, so much going on with whether it's NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, obviously baseball. What's your favorite prop bet outside of this straight plays, right? Everyone loves these prop bets. So numbers coming in pretty even. We got that little fight going on in Florida and Tampa Bay. How about that? Oh, no, that was a highlight. Never mind. When you just have a monitor here, you always get, distracted. You don't realize it's just a replay. That's why I thought Carolina was up 3-1 the whole time before when they were just showing a replay of a goal in the second period. So anyway, back to our poll question, Joe. What's your favorite prop bet? And it's almost a dead even split. 31%. I'm surprised. NBA players, points, rebounds, and assists leading the way, only because whenever we've had, NBA, answers, it always seems to lose to whether it's baseball or hockey. But tonight, so far, it's in the lead, 31%. Pitcher strikeouts, 27%. Shots on goal from hockey, 20%. And then other, name it, 20% as well. One of those others, there's a few of them here. Hold on a second. Let me just go to this. Before we get to yours, Sports Talk writes in baseball money line round robins. Ah, yes, the good old round robin parlays. Says tonight he likes the Thunder laying the 16.5, D-backs run line, a few others there. So you need to triple up if depending on what the odds are. So round robin parlays certainly are not really a prop bet, but it's the way to go for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a great way to bet. So I threw out a question asking if people think the Carolina Hurricanes are going to sweep the New Jersey Devils, because we saw another win tonight by Carolina. And 57.4% right now, Scott, are saying yes to that poll, thinking that the Carolina Hurricanes will sweep the New Jersey Devils. And then we had Keith, a Devils fan, coming in saying he predicted Carolina would win before the playoffs even started, that he's a Devils fan, but it's a bad roster and a mentally weak team. So he's not having much faith in his team out there. Scott, do you agree with him?
Well, he said the Devils, he said Carolina would win in 3. So I don't know if he just made a typo or he was trying to be funny or he's just maybe drunk. I'm not sure. So I don't think the I don't think the Hurricanes are going to win in 3. 4, yes. 3, I don't think so. I don't think the Devils will walk away after 3 games, being down 3 games to none. So, but you never know. Change in scoring. We got a goal from the Florida Panthers, 2-1, Florida. So let's see what we got as far as who scored that one, Joe. That must have come just as the first period came to an end, because that was 1-1 for the longest time.
Reinhart, I told you, Scott, Sam's tonight. Sam Bennett, Reinhart. Beautiful goal by him.
Nice. And you had him, right? In your SGP?
Not in my SGP. I had him outside of my SGP betting both of the Sams tonight. So Sam Reinhart was really juicy for that point tonight at -148, but Sam Bennett was coming in with great plus money at +130 for the point. So both of those guys scoring goals tonight. It's great to see.
All right, so that's cool. So we got 3 goals already in that game. How about that? Wow, 2-1 after 1. Yeah, that should be a great series. Little disappointed we haven't gotten much out of Ottawa. They did score in the second period, but 2-1 after 2, Toronto and the Senators. I still like the over. I still think we're going to get 6 goals. If you want to grab the 5.5 now, Joe, it's +150. You kind of work this through. If Ottawa can score and then someone takes the lead, then you get the empty netter. There's your 4-2, 6-goal final. At +150, I might take a crack at that. I like that plus money.
Yeah, at +150, Scott, I think it is worth a shot because you're right. You still need 3 more goals in this. But you look, if Ottawa has to come out, they have to tie this game up right away. They can't allow Toronto to come out and score a goal. That would be the recipe for this total to lose. Because if Toronto comes out, scores right away on Allmark, then I think they lock down defensively. And we see, a 3-1 game. So let's get the Sens scoring first, and it goes over.
Yeah. OKC, as expected, up 20. They're going to win by 25, you watch.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC, that is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in-game live, game day on the grid. Hour number 2, midway through. So, talk of changes. How about those Milwaukee Bucks? For those that just love betting the underdog, as we always do in these basketball games. Indiana 115, Joe. Milwaukee 113 with 2 minutes and change. Now it's 118. But it's a 1-2 possession game. Bucks have been trailing by double digits the whole way. Put a little lean on grabbing them plus 11.5 at halftime or so. It's down to 4.5 now. Well, this would be a bad loss for Indiana. They were dominating this game from start to finish. But what do you think? Can the Bucks actually win? You want to grab them plus 6-1 on the money line? You want to lay 4.5? You want to take a pass? You got they're giving. I'll tell you what I kind of like is it's 118, 113, 205 left. So you're at 231 points, and they're giving you an over/under of 140.5. So are you going to get 10 more points in the final 2 minutes? I'm thinking yes. With some fouling maybe in the end. I know it's not college, but I would be real. Now it's at a 239.5. Well, now it's at a minute 36. I'm still going to do it. I still think we're going to get some points.
Why can't anything just be easy, Scott? Why can't the Pacers just easily cover that original spread, easily cover any live bets anyone jumped into, and we just call it a day here? Because I didn't think the Bucks would make this much of a run coming back, right? We shouldn't be needing to sweat this when you look at the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. The Pacers were completely in charge. So I'm kind of ticked right now with the Milwaukee Bucks for making this pushback, but that spread has moved to 5.5 now. That total's still 239.5, and I'm with you, Scott. It's got to be the over or nothing for me with a minute 22 left out there on the court. But OKC's doing what we needed them to do. They're leading this one by 20 points right now, 101-81, with 7 minutes left. That spread 21.5. So not as high as that 24.5 that we saw at one point at halftime, but we're still seeing 20 or more points for this spread.
Yeah. You know what? I probably should have laid the 15.5 versus the 120 over team total. But I did, what I thought would occur has happened. They come out flying after scoring only 18 points in the third quarter. And I fully expect them to, win by certainly the original number, which was 14.5, which seemed godly at the time. But, here it is at 21.5. So nice job by OKC. And Memphis made a little bit of a run, but bottom line is they're going to fall, 2 games to none down. Little skirmish in the Milwaukee-Indiana series. But that's getting to be a little feisty series here. It's taking forever to run off the final minute and a half here. They're just trying to figure out any fouls or yapping or whatever. These players they're still more, even in the postseason, Joe, they're more concerned about their manhood and standing up for themselves versus winning a basketball game. Why risk getting a technical foul? I think someone from Milwaukee got a technical foul, I think. Maybe not. But, all right.
On that one spot. You don't want to hear my response. Biting my tongue.
Well, just give me some points. I got the over 39.5. Oh, now it's up to 239. Now it's up to 241.5. We must have got a bucket. Yep, Pacers, 121, 113. You can hedge out of your bet. You could grab Milwaukee right now, plus 7.5. Give yourself a little 2-3 point middle. If you got Indiana, minus the 4.5.
I can't head to this one tonight, Scott. I think the Pacers were the right side. I'm going to sweat it out to the bitter end here with the points that I laid with them. What about you? Are you going to hedge? I just can't do it.
No, you know why? Because I got the over too. So, and I kind of got mixed feelings with Indiana. I got Milwaukee in the series, but I bet Indiana tonight, which is kind of weird because they would be up 2 games to none. So I kind of got a little hedge there. And then the over. If I wouldn't have put the over in just now, maybe I would. But I don't think they're going to win. Whether they cover, it's not a bad little 7.5. I will say, because at this point, with a minute and change left, they're going to get the ball to Giannis, and they can't stop Giannis. So, how many points does he have tonight? By the way, let me check.
They
probably don't list you an option, but
right?
32.
Like if they were giving us a money line, maybe I would look there, but no. Otherwise, I don't want it.
Wow, Joe, they actually list. There's a minute and change left, a minute 12 left. They are actually giving you point totals for players. Like Giannis, they just locked it up. But Giannis has 32, and they were giving you 33.5. So they're basically saying, do you think he's going to make a bucket in the final, 2 possessions of the game? Well, I've never seen point totals be up there that late. That's amazing. Of course, I didn't bet it, still.
I wish I got that bet in, right? Because that's who the ball's going to.
Exactly.
Wow, that would have been a great bet.
That's fudge. All right. But yeah, Jack, you know where the ball's going. It's going to Giannis. Are you kidding me? Down 7 with a minute and a half left. who else are they going to get the ball to? So, all right, we'll keep an eye on that one. We need some more points there. 44 seconds left now. Bucks trail by 8, so they're going to fall behind. In 104-86, 6 minutes left. I need 17 points out of OKC in the final 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I might get that to hit my total.
I
might.
I think you'll get there, right?
Yeah.
We've got tons of time. 5 minutes, 51 seconds left. So, and then 32 seconds left in the fourth quarter there between the Pacers and the Bucks. 121 to 113, Scott. I'm going to sweat this at 115 now. I'm going to sweat this to the very last second.
Yeah. Mets, bottom 7, runner on third, 1 out. Ooh, I need 2 runs for my over 3.5. That's looking pretty good to get at least 1, I would think. Dodgers trail 8-5 against the Cubbies, bottom of the 6th. That's locked up. They moved to the top of the 8th. Twinkies still only 2-1, Joe, against the White Sox.
Wow.
We need Minnesota to score a couple of runs here. Ooh, Kansas City scored a run. They now lead Colorado 2-0. That's pretty good, bottom of the 8th inning. Still batting, laying a run and a half there. We'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah, that is really good to see. And I'm happy to see that we are trending to the under with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Houston Astros. Can the Jays actually win a game, though? I thought they would squeak out the win in this one. Blanco getting the start here for the Houston Astros. And I do believe Chris Bassett got the start for my Toronto Blue Jays tonight, didn't he? Like, I was expecting this 3-1 style. Yeah, I was expecting 3-1 style game right now for the Jays, not for the Houston Astros. So pretty disappointed to see that, but nice to see, though, that under is trending in the right direction. I believe it was a 7.5 going into this one. We got a live number of 6.5. Yeah. Middle of the 6, Scott. Do you think we stay under 6.5? I still think we do.
I'll say this, Astros on a 5-1 under run. We got 8-3 under last 11 meetings between these two teams. So you got some decent little unders. Toronto 12-3 under their last 15 road games as well. That might date back to last season, but still that's decent little, and last night, despite getting 7 runs out of the Astros, the game still went under because the Blue Jays didn't score any, so 7-0 under. So you might get it, bottom 6. I don't know if I'd bet under 6.5. But
Scott, the Astros got those 3 runs in the first inning. Chris Bassett gave up 3 runs in the first inning. Like, are you kidding me? I had the nerve in that. I'm so disappointed to see that.
Oh, jeez. You've had a bad streak here. Between all those bad beats last night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, these first period bets, but at least the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning went in the right direction. Like I told you, if that didn't go in the right direction today, man, I was going to stay off those first periods, especially on the ice.
You have the Nerfy in Pittsburgh and the Angels, or Tampa Bay and Arizona?
Let me just see. I can't remember what I have. Let me just look at my ticket. Yeah, I have the Yurfie between the Brewers and the San Francisco Giants tonight. So that was getting me great plus money. I think both of those pitchers can allow that run.
All right. You generally go Nerfy or Yurfie, or there is a mix between the two for you?
Yeah, a total mix between the yes runs or the no runs in that first inning, Scott. So it just depends. Depends on the day and the pitcher.
All right, Cam Stewart coming up next. We'll get some winners from him here at the Grid.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shedeur Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve the first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC, that is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game day on the grid. It is over in Indiana. Pacers win, and they cover. They even cover that 7.5 if you did lay that. 123-118. Doesn't get to the 239. So, boy, they had that down as a 2-point game. 115-113, and they're outscored, 8-2 the rest of the way. So Indiana grabs a 2-0 best-of-7 series lead. Talk a little baskets, little pucks, little maybe golf, a little baseball with a good buddy. Cam Stewart takes over at the top of the hour with our good buddy Gabe Morency as well. What's going on, Cam? How are you tonight, bud?
Surviving, Scott. Just sweating out the usual playoff games. We know how this goes. Leafs in Ottawa, a lot better this game Ottawa's played than in game number 1. We're on Carolina again in this. It's interesting, this under. And a lot of people rip Freddie Anderson. The guy's actually played pretty well in the playoffs. Like, Carolina looks really good. But, yeah, I like this under right now. In this, I have the under 6.5 in this game, guys. So hopefully, what's the live line? 4.5? I still think, I'm not sure if we're going to get 5 goals. Maybe the Leafs will win 3-1, but there's still a lot of time left. That's what I'm praying anyway, so they can go up 2-0 in this series. And yeah, Wetzel, what'd you do? What were you doing? Ripping Gabe? What was he? He's not a Leaf fan. Hey, I'm the Leaf fan around here. Remember that. He's a Canuck fan.
Oh, on Twitter? When he said the Leafs are winning?
Yeah. I'm the guy that you could say who's a stupid Leaf fan. I'll take it. But anyway, don't these Leaf fans ever learn? Nah, I know. We don't ever learn. That's the problem, Scott. But anyway, the beautiful thing about betting, last night, Joe's on the show. I'm like, oh, Colorado scored like late. We're all on Dallas. I'm like, oh, Edmonton's getting throttled. Like, I'm done. I got +2.5. And literally, when the show ended, Dallas wins in overtime. The live line stays under 7.5. Edmonton almost comes back and wins the game, let alone the 2.5. So it's never over. Joe, I feel you. The Basset Hound has been so damn good for Toronto. You don't expect it to happen in bunches, but it did. He's been actually one of the best pitchers in baseball, but it's 3-1 ball game. What are you going to do? I'm betting a lot less baseball, a lot more hockey and NBA. I'm still tinkering with baseball, but not in the same way that I usually do.
Yeah, what are you thinking of this game 1 here between the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning? Florida's come out. We've got 2 goals already out of them. Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart both scoring. Tampa came out getting that goal, Jake Gunsel with that goal. So we're in the second period here. Did you look at an over in this one? The books want you to lay -192 to the over 6.5 right now. That's insane.
It is insane, Joe, but I'm not taking the under. I think this game's a track meet. This is the one game I think the Lightning can get the next goal. I'd actually take a shot with the Lightning +170. I know a little bit of a public play, but I don't know. Florida gets a goal here, 3-1. Like, we got a lot of hockey left, and we already have 3 goals. I will say this, Scott, Joe, my dumpster special, I'm going right back to the Wild tonight. I don't care if Vegas beat them the first game. I'll take the Wild +1.5. I might sprinkle on the money line. This total, too, all these games we think go under, go over. I would not be surprised if it actually went over. but I'm taking Minnesota. I watched that game front to back the last time. Vegas, they had some good shifts. Like, Minnesota wasn't intimidated by these guys. Vegas scored a nice goal. It was not indicative. Like, the game was very, very close. And you know what? Vegas is one of those teams that maybe Minnesota can get in front of them tonight. That's my super pooch. I'm going to take a shot with the Wild, plus 1.5. Saw it off with the money line at almost 2-1.
All right. How about Lakers and teacups? Lines up to 6 now. You know, the perfect zigzag system, right? Everyone thinking Lakers got to win. They lost game 1. I don't know, Cam. You know, this Minnesota team, I am tempted to grab
Minnesota.
them plus the 6. Yeah,
I'm on Minnesota game 1. I'm on Minnesota game 2. I'm not getting off Minnesota. So what's the response? Oh, the Lakers got to come out. Sure, they can win. They got to win by more than 6 points. So I'm willing to take my chances with a very good Minnesota team. So just these things, it's like, oh, they're automatically going to blow them out. I tend to disagree with that. I think Minnesota can hang. I think they can win the damn game. So if I think an underdog could win the game, I'll definitely take them. Oh, what am I doing? The only dance step that is worse than the Toronto 2-step is the Minnesota 2-step. Take me down to the dance, baby. Give me the Wild and give me the Timberwolves. I'm going hunting in the woods tonight with Wild and Wolves. Let's do it.
I like where you're going. Chris Bassett has now given up a couple more runs. Well, one more run. It's 4-1 game right now. What is wrong with the pitching in Toronto? We have the Astros with runners on second and third right now. This is not pretty at all, Cam. I'm lost for words with my Toronto Blue Jays.
They're the best under team in the league. You know what the problem is? It's their damn bats. Like, these pitchers, I expect, like, I get it. Bassett gave it up in chunks tonight, but he's been phenomenal this year. I know it's a contract year. Where's the bats? Like, 1 run against Houston. It's the same old damn story. This Blue Jay team is supposed to rake. I have no problem with the pitching. I got a problem with the hitting. That's the issue with these guys. They have too many damn unders. Like, somebody step up and get some damn runs. You look at this lineup, they should be scoring way more runs than that. Very disappointing. This team is starting, like, it's early in the season. No, Joe, it's like, how do I describe the Blue Jays? It's like a relationship, I guess, where you think, like, wow, we're starting off, you're in the honeymoon phase, and then it's over. You know what I mean?
And there's no
and then we'll give it another shot. You know, we're separated, we give it another shot, and then you catch her with another guy at the tavern. I'm like, this team is up and down and up and down and up and down. The minute I want to buy in again, I love you. And all they do is hurt me and stab me in the back. They're a perennial 500 team. Like, they're going to drive us nuts all year, Joe. Right now it's unders with the Jays, but when are the bats going to wake up? Hopefully soon.
We paid Vladdy enough. Just better wake up soon.
What are you saying, Wetzel?
I was going to say, nothing but really good news from baseball for me. I hate to say it, boys, but Minnesota, laying a 1.5, just puts 2 on the board. In the bottom of the 8th, leads the White Sox 4-1. Rockies lead the Royals, laying a 1.5, lead the Rockies 2-0. And then we got the Dodgers have come back and now lead the Cubs, Cam, 8-7.
Are you telling me the Minnesota 3-step or like 3 balls with Minnesota? Like, we could do Twins? Wild?
There you go.
T-Wolves? Scott, I don't know if this is ever, but if we take all Minnesota teams and they go 3-0 tonight, this guy is going to be a happy guy. But, Joe, I do like that over in that hockey game. Give me Minnesota late, and I actually might take a shot with the over in that game. If it goes low enough, I'm going to definitely bet it live. I think we can get a few goals.
All right, Maple Leaf fans, Cam and Gabe take over top of the hour.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Okay, what tools can you use to measure those things a bit? And that's where you have like force plates and 3D motion and launch monitors, things like that. But that's all just sort of like measuring what's happening. That doesn't necessarily explain why one guy's really good and another guy's not really good. And that's where there's still kind of like this ongoing, how do you like continue to do research to understand that better? And I think that's going to last well past my lifetime.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hasn't been a ton of indication that Cleveland is even looking at anybody outside of Travis Hunter. The Giants, yes, have worked out Shador Sanders.
I do think there's going to be at least 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Not because they deserve to be first round, have a first round grade on them per se, but the fact that you get the extra year of control, somebody's going to slide into one of those 30, 31, or 32 slots and grab a quarterback.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC, that is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweight.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
I tell you, man, as soon as you think you got this thing figured out, as soon as you think things go your way, you know, the Vegas gods just slap you right in the face, Joe. Royals leading the god-awful biggest waste of human flesh in baseball uniforms west of the Mississippi, Colorado, right? What could go wrong? Kansas City's leading 2-0, top of the 9th inning. You were all laying a run and a half on Kansas City. Yeah, there's 2 on, but there's 2 outs. What could possibly go wrong? The Rockies hit a 3-run homer and now lead 3-2 heading to the bottom of the 9th. Unbelievable. Unstinking unbelievable. This team won't win more than a handful of road games all year. And they're going to decide to hit a 3-run homer with 2 out to take the lead. Yeah, you can't win. You just can't win sometimes.
No,
anyway.
You can't. But Florida is looking like they could win this game. They're up 3-1 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. We just got a goal out of a defenseman, Nate Smith, out there for the Florida Panthers. So with 3-1 game, 15 minutes and change left in the second period here, Scott.
Dodgers 10-7 now over the Cubs, Joe. They were down 7-4. And I saw the score, but I got distracted. We're looking at other things, and I didn't look and see how far, how big of an underdog the Dodgers were. I'm guessing, 2-1, 2.5 to 1. I don't know if they would have been 3-1, but they scored a gazillion runs. They're still batting top of the 7th inning, and they now lead the Cubs 10-7. That might be one of the few chances we'll ever get the Dodgers, over 2-1 in a baseball game this year. They're amazing.
Well, I've got another update. It is 4-1 for the Florida Panthers right now. So as soon as you start talking again, they scored another goal. Not sure who it is because they haven't updated it in the box score yet, but there has been a 4th goal. So maybe they're challenging that right now, Scott, but we will see. FanDuel showing this 4-1 and a live total of 8.5 in this game with 14 minutes left in the second. Wow. Tampa plus 154. I'd take Tampa right now.
Is Kachuk 19?
I hope so. Kachuk, I believe he is 19.
Yeah, I only saw the side of the number.
Yeah.
So he was left wide open in the crease. Yeah. So there you go, Matthew Kachuk there with the goal. Look at that for Florida, right? This is why, the Panthers, are Stanley Cup champs and then, trying to go for their 3rd straight Stanley Cup appearance. But, this is their game, Joe. They're so deep, right? I mean, the main guys, Reinhardt, Kachuk, Bennett, and this guy Schmidt. But, the other 3, those are the guys. I mean, there's so many guys in this team that can score. And when they're healthy, to me, they're the best team in hockey when they're healthy. And, we had doubts about their health down the stretch. I think they kind of limped home a little bit. But I did figure I have a Colorado-Florida Stanley Cup final with Colorado winning. But in reality, if it got that far, that means, Florida is the better team and would probably win. But, I mean, this is the quintessential game. Scored from a bunch of guys. The main guys stepping up. Good goaltending. 4-1 over Tampa Bay. And that's what I said before the show, right? Or not before the show, but, at the beginning of the show, that 8 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams have been decided by 2 goals or more. So lay the goal and a half, getting plus money on both sides, and chances are you're going to be a winner. A lot of time left. It's only second period, but that's looking like it's going to hold true again tonight.
And I'm keeping my fingers crossed because my 4-leg parlay, 4-1 to your money, Scott. I need one more player to record a point, and that's Braden Point. We know how strong he is out there for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we did go over 1.5 in the first period. Jake Gunsel got a point via a goal. Matthew Tkachuk now has a point via a goal. And Braden Point, we're waiting on that last leg. So 4-1, hopefully some of you guys tailed it.
All right, hopefully. Keep your fingers crossed. So, still only 2-1 Toronto, Ottawa. I thought I saw Ottawa score again, but I guess they were showing a highlight of their first goal. So, again, misled by the highlights there. So, 2-1 Toronto. Tkachuk has a goal. Well, I'm surprised FanDuel didn't put a parlay up like that, for Brady and Matthew to both score tonight.
Would have been a good one.
I don't know what the odds would have been on that, but both did score.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Matthew Tkachuk was plus 240 to score a goal tonight, and Brady Tkachuk was plus 260. So I'm not sure if they would have given you the true on that, but that would have been a beautiful one. And could you imagine? I don't think the Sens are going to beat the Maple Leafs here, but if those two met in the next round, it'd be fireworks.
Yeah, that would have been that would have paid about 10-1. That little part that you could put in separately. So. I still think Ottawa's going to win tonight, plus 630. Joe, great job, man. I appreciate you filling in for Dave. You and I will be back again on Saturday and Sunday here on The Grid. Gabe and Cam coming up next. Don't go anywhere.